Nottingham Forest 2, Manchester United 1. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Red Devils experience. And welcome back to the Red Devil recap. Another dreadful, terrible, awful performance from the players from Manchester United. I said last show that that Villa result had to be the springboard for the rest of the season. I said that these players get no more chances if they fail to use it as a springboard. And what did they do? They went on that pitch today. They didn't play. They waited to go a goal down, like we've said they've been doing. And then they wanted to play after they went a goal down, like they usually do. And it's over for these players. It's over for this team. Ten Hag rightfully getting criticized for some of the choices he made. Still, again, far bigger problems in this club than Eric Ten Hag. I understand the arguments. I understand if certain people say, he's not doing good enough and he should be sacked. He should be sacked in normal circumstances. It hasn't been good, but Manchester United is not a football club run like a normal football club. We are not in normal circumstances. We haven't been in normal circumstances for over 10 years. And knowing how this club operates, knowing the current situation we are in, Eric Ten Hag getting sacked will not fix any of the problems, maybe temporarily, but, we've done many temporary fixes in the past, and look where we are. Nothing has ever actually gotten solved. The club just announced the Sir Jim deal. They are starting to do the work that they can until it's actually sanctioned by the Premier League. And it's going to take them some time to do their due diligence. They're not just going to, walk in with the solution ready to go in their hand and they're going to start executing it. This is going to take months. They're doing an internal review of the entire club from head to toe, as should be done. And during that process, as this process is being done, I believe that Eric Ten Hag should not be sacked as the manager. Performance-wise, sure. But, we're not in normal circumstances here. I mean, the club is a disaster. If you were to sack Eric Ten Hag, who you getting in interim? He's going to be temporary. You're going to have to replace that guy. January, throw it out the window. I just don't see, sacking the manager. It's not going to save the season. The position we're in is very much down to the players. Now, you can blame Eric Ten Hag for picking certain players, but when I look at the situation of the club, when I look in the situation that Eric Ten Hag has to deal with, we're using a couple players that I don't think should be there. I don't think Eric Ten Hag wanted them there. And I think, he's stuck again, like other managers in the past, especially Jose Mourinho, who asked the club or told the club to sell certain players, and the club refused to sell those players. Mourinho got the sack, and those players are still here. They're still here. One of them is earning about $300,000 a week. Has been ill for 3 weeks. Has contributed nothing. It's just wasted money. It's wasted money. It's wasted money here and there. Again, I will come and say, Anthony, not looking good at all. I wouldn't play him. I mean, not wouldn't play him. I wouldn't start him. I think Diallo, coming back from injury, hasn't played a single game. However long Amad Diallo played for today, he did more than Anthony has done for matches now. Which is, I don't know if that's the bar is so low or it's a little bit of both, but for sure, these are things you can criticize Eric Ten Hag on, that I feel are appropriate for the current situation. Next match, I think Diallo should be in. Um, unless we get Rasmus back, because of course we were missing Rasmus, and I think that's another important thing we need to talk about is how we have only one striker at the club. Martial is not reliable, and Martial isn't good enough. But we lose Rasmus, and I lose 50% confidence in the attack that we're going to score a goal because there's just nobody else. Rashford down the middle doesn't work, so I think for the next match, if we get Hoyland back, obviously Hoyland's gonna should start at striker. And then Rashford and Garnacho, or I would even go as far as to play Garnacho and Amad Diallo. I think Anthony should be stopped playing on the right hand side. He's very one footed. He cannot really use his right foot. He's not scoring any goals playing from the left, and he's certainly not creating chances playing from the right. Excuse me, and he's not scoring. He's not scoring or creating playing on the right. I think it makes it harder for him. Um, he struggles to beat players on. And I think it's just complicating the game for him. I would like to see him be put on the left. He should be put on the left side. Garnacho is way better two-footed. Garnacho can play left or right, so it doesn't matter. I don't see what's the insistence on Garnacho constantly playing on the left. Um, if I'm not mistaken, Garnacho is a lefty. So why does Garnacho get to play on the left and he's a lefty? He's better double-footed than Anthony is, but Anthony can only play on the right. I mean, Anthony should be moved to the left. This is a criticism of Eric Ten Hag. Eric Ten Hag should change this. I'm not happy about it. At the end of the day, I don't think that that's a sackable offense. I think emotions are high. I think fans are rightfully frustrated. I'm frustrated as well. But at the end of the day, I know that the big and main problems at this football club is much more than the manager, because we've changed the manager numerous times and it has changed nothing for this club. So I will continue to say we must change everything. The hierarchy have to come in and make all the changes to the people below them. The players must be changed, must be dealt with, must be sold, must be out of this club. The ones that deserve to go, the ones that shouldn't be here, the ones that don't have the mentality, that don't have the personality, that don't have the drive. They need to be booted out before the manager. And I keep saying this because to me, it makes a statement. If you remove this manager before any of those players go, you're letting the players off the hook once again. And they do not deserve to be off the hook. They've had more than enough chances. We've been more than enough patient with them. We've tried more than enough to support them. And what do? Every single time. Every single time. They cannot give us 90 minutes. Forget the players aren't playing for the manager. The players aren't playing for the badge. The players aren't playing for us. Fuck playing for the manager. If you don't play for the manager, you're not playing for the club and you're not playing for the fans. So, you want to say anything about the players not playing for Eric Ten Hag? Well, hey, they're not playing for you either. They don't give a fuck about you. Because if they did, they wouldn't go out and put performances like they've been doing all season, where they do one good, they give you 45 minutes, maybe they give you an hour, and then they decide, fuck it. I've done a decent enough job. Pat myself on the back, give me my fucking money, let me go home. That's what they do. That's what they do. It's clear as day. I said it in the last video. The first 45 minutes against Villa, they couldn't be fucking asked to play football. They couldn't be asked to play properly. And whatever Ten Hag said to them, whatever was changed, got them to play. They came out. You could tell they were more motivated. They had more urgency. They had more drive. But they lack the mentality and they lack the drive inside of them to start a match and any match like that and see it through a whole 90 minutes. And that is a fucking problem when you're building a squad. And people need to understand this. And I know the manager is supposed to manage. They're supposed to coach. They're supposed to develop these players. But let me tell you something. If you have players that just can't do it, it's like beating a dead horse. It's a waste of fucking time. I am highly convinced that a majority of these group of players under any manager wouldn't give us nothing. They would give us nothing because they do it constantly. And I'm not here to pick on individuals because there's a lot of them and they equal a fucking group and they need to be removed. But as a prime example, Marcus Rashford had the season of seasons last season for himself, right? This season, he looks absolutely nothing like he had last season. And that is a problem. You cannot have a player on the wages that Marcus Rashford has. You cannot have a player that is deemed by the club a superstar that performs one season like that and shows up to your next season and performs the way he's doing. This is a problem with the mentality, with the attitude, and with the passion and the drive of the players. Things aren't going well. There might be things at the club that they're not happy about. The problem is, that shit is spilling over into the pitch. And you can see it because it's affecting his performances, and he's not the only one. It's just the easiest example I can give right now. Bruno Fernandes does not look like Bruno Fernandes anymore. Nobody. I mean, another criticism, Scott McTominay for Kobe Mainu was a terrible tactical decision by Erik ten Hag. He said it was a tactical decision. It was not an injury or anything like that. And he said he doesn't regret it. And I think that's a lie. I think he does regret it. I hope he regrets it. Internally, I hope he regrets it. I hope that's just something he came out to say because he doesn't want to actually throw the player under the bus because he knows what that's going to do to the squad. He knows that these players are weak mentally. He knows that they are ready to throw a manager under the bus at any moment because they've done it before. And he knows that the players are looking for a way out because they don't want to accept responsibility for their own shit that they've caused. And so when he says something like that, I think he knows that it was a mistake. Now he is stubborn, but I think it's pretty clear since Eriksen came back, McTominay has not started. I don't know what's up with Amrabat. Obviously, we're still missing Casemiro. And I personally think, when we get Casemiro back, we won't see Scott McTominay. As soon as Eriksen was available, McTominay went from starting to the bench. The match against Villa, he didn't play much. I think he got like 20 minutes. Today, he got 45. I think it was a mistake to take Mainu off, especially if you're going to put Scott McTominay as the holding midfielder. Scott McTominay cannot play holding midfielder. At one point, Anthony was playing so bad that I argued to put Scott McTominay. If you're putting on Scott McTominay to try and get a goal because I think he's our leading goal scorer, I would have taken off Anthony, put Rashford on the right, left Garnacho on the left, and threw Scott McTominay as striker at that point. If you're going to do that, it was a huge mistake to put Scott McTominay as holding midfielder because Scott McTominay cannot play holding midfielder. He's proved it time and time again. He doesn't know how to fucking get away from his mark. He doesn't know how to get on the ball, and he can't create. So he's completely useless in that capacity. And I'm going to say, personally, if we could, January 1st, fucking sell him. Sell him. He's useless. He provides nothing to the team. He's a waste of fucking space, and he ain't good enough. And he's got to go. And the criticism I'll have is Ten Hag has to stop picking him. Ten Hag has to stop relying on this guy because he's going to get him sacked by keep playing this guy. He's gonna get him sacked And there's a couple things that are going to get him sacked if he keeps doing it. And he needs to realize he cannot rely on certain individuals. And his stubbornness with these players, it's not going to click for them. It's not going to click for them. And he has to realize this, and he needs to make the changes that he's refusing to do. These are criticisms of the manager. The manager deserves criticisms. He's making wrong decisions. He's making decisions that I don't agree with, and the decisions he's making aren't really working. So on that front, yes. Do these decisions all cause us to perform the way we are performing on the pitch? Does it cause all the bad results we've had all season? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And I will argue this with anybody. And if you want, go ahead and put your thoughts in the comments down below, and we can have a discussion or whatever you want. Because again, I see people saying, well, the right winger that he bought for 80 million is crap. Listen, it's one thing if Anthony is good or not, and he's playing good or not, right? It's another thing if he keeps picking him. Okay, I hear you on that point. Stop mentioning the fucking price tag. Erik ten Hag did not sign off on an 80 million transfer. He told the club, get me Anthony. The club was the one who decided the fees, agreed to the fees, and they signed the paper. Erik ten Hag has nothing to do with the fees. We all know that we overspend. We were overspending before Erik ten Hag, and we overspent during Erik ten Hag. That has nothing to do with the manager. This is why I keep saying we need to change the hierarchy. And, just on the match, I mean, we're fucking slow. We don't know what to do with the ball. When a team sits back, we have absolutely no fucking clue how to break them down. Constantly making wrong decisions. I mean, I don't understand what is wrong with these players. I don't understand why they don't show attacking intent. I don't understand why they're afraid to play football, because that's what it is. They are afraid to play football. If you think Erik ten Hag tactics and style of play is to play like that, you're fucking lost. You are absolutely lost. First of all, think back to last season. Try and think back to how we were playing when we went on that excellent run of games up until we lost Lisandro Martinez, and I think it was Casemiro, and maybe Varane, right? When we lost our back line and then it started going to shit. Think about the way we were playing. It was a good style of play. There was room for improvement, and it could have got better. We are not playing like that this season for a numerous amount of reasons. One, I think the fucking injuries have absolutely destroyed us, which says a lot about the rest of the squad, because if you lose a player here or there, like I think personally Lisandro Martinez is a big him being out is a big reason why we cannot play the way we want to play, which says a lot about the rest of the squad, because if you're losing one player or two players and you can no longer play the way you're playing, that means the rest of the players are, one, don't fit the system, two, they're not good enough, and just this, and the squad building as a whole is shit. It's a pile of shit that's been compiled over a numerous amount of years, mushed together in a fucking ball, and they handed it to the manager and they said, here, do something with this. Try and polish it and make it into a fucking gem. And it's a ball of shit. That's what Erik ten Hag has. And people are gonna argue, yeah, but what about the players he signed? I mean, where the fuck is Mason Mount? He's injured. Martinez is injured. Casemiro is injured. These are big players. These aren't fucking backup players we're talking about. These are our main players. And we're missing them. And yeah, injuries are part of the game. But when you're at Manchester United and the club is run fucking totally incompetent, you lose one or two of your main players, you're in fucking deep shit. Especially because Erik ten Hag wanted to sell Scott McTominay, was ready to sell Scott McTominay, could have gotten the 30 million. We could have used it for an extra, a different player, maybe a player in a different position of a better caliber that could have been fucking helping us right now. And the club decided that Scott McTominay is a fucking 50, 60 million player, and rejected all of the bids that was there for him, or all the interest. And here we are. Here he is, having to be used realistically, because if I don't know, you looked at that bench today, it was all kids. It was all kids. And I know some of you say, play all kids, but you can't have a squad full of all kids, because we will lose and the kids will get abused. And I understand that the argument will be, well, the kids will play more than some of the senior players we have. And I actually agree with that, right? But at the end of the day, we're playing Premier League football. You're gonna throw in a bunch of kids against a bunch of grown adults, pretty much, and that's not sustainable either. Like, what? You're gonna win a match? They're not. No team in the Premier League has a squad full of just kids. I think maybe Chelsea, and look where they are. So it's you always need the right balance. And I understand the frustration, and I get why people say just replace all the fucking senior players, and put in the kids. I get it. I get it. I would love to do that too, but I just know it's not going to work, and that's why. And Eric Ten Hag knows it's not going to work, and that's not sustainable, and that's not a real plan. Um, and I think as fans, we kind of look at things two-dimensional, because we're on the outside, so we don't know all the stuff going on behind the scenes, right? And I just think, as Eric Ten Hag is the manager, there's a lot of different aspects he has to deal with. I mean, especially as a man, you have to be careful of the attitude, the team chemistry, the cohesion, and all that. Not that we really have any, but whatever we have, he stuck it together with fucking glue. The cheap glue from the 99-cent store. But that's what he's really holding on to, because if that comes ripped apart, the whole thing it'll be worse. It'll be worse than anything we've ever seen. We're limping along here, and he knows it. He knows we're limping along, but he's trying to avoid losing the other leg, because then we ain't fucking limping at all, and we're crawling. And once we're crawling, that's it. It's over. It's over for him. It's over for the season. It's over for the club. It's over for everybody. So I think he's doing his best, because you make the decision to drop all these big players. Nobody's gonna really have your back, or the majority of the squad won't have your back anymore. Obviously, the players he bring in are gonna have his back. And then what we're gonna have is a situation like we had during Ranić and at the end of Solskjaer, where it was all clicked. There was a few players that were backing the manager. There was another group of players that were going at the other group of players for backing the manager, and that group of players was against the manager, and it was a fucking disaster. And he's trying to hold it together as a squad right now. He doesn't really have any other options. January transfers isn't looking fucking good. The club is incompetent. I think they're gonna struggle to even move on somebody like Jadon Sancho. It'll probably be a loan, because they won't be able to sell him, because they don't know how to negotiate, and they don't know what deal is a good deal. So it's a lot of fucking problems going on here. And I was arguing with people on Twitter, because I again said, Eric Ten Hag in, and the players out. And I'm gonna keep saying it, because I'm telling you, I'm not saying it because I think he's the answer. I'm not saying it because I think he is the chosen one. I'm saying it because of the situation that we have right now. Um, it's just not beneficial to the club in the long term to sack this manager. We don't have a plan. The club doesn't have a plan. The club has no candidate. So if you sack Eric Ten Hag, somebody probably within the club will be an interim. Who the hell knows who that's gonna be? Oh my god, I don't know if this is real. It might be fake, but I just seen that Jackie Chan peacefully passed away. Passed by a grocery store. Ah. Anyway, nonsense. Twitter nonsense. This is what happens when you go on Twitter. Because I'm on Twitter. I wanna read some stuff to you because the hate and the response that I get on online is absolutely fucking disgusting and ridiculous. Um we had MUFC MPB posted and said, "Are you Eric Ten Hag in or out?" Like they do every other game. I'm kind of getting sick and tired of the fucking question. We should be backing the manager until the proper changes are made, until we get to a situation where we can make the changes that are needed. Every time he wins a game, you don't ask the question, and then the next time when the players play like shit and they let everybody down because it's their fault and they're not good enough and they don't have the mentality, we go every single one of these United accounts come out and they say Eric Ten Hag in or out. Um, it's ridiculous. So I had somebody respond and say, same players that made a comeback against Villa. Was it the players that asked him to sub off Mano and bring in McTominay? I mean, but so him subbing off Manu and bringing on McTominay deserves him to get the fucking sack? No. The reason why we're in the shit that we're in is the players have been doing this all season. The players show up to matches and don't want to play. The players don't know how to play. They're not good enough. They shouldn't be at this club. A lot of them should have been moved on a long time ago. This guy said both out, and I don't even disagree with that notion in terms of, but it has to be planned. It can't just be, fucking. I said players first and foremost. They have been the problem through 4 different managers. These players are uncoachable and they are not good enough. This is what I'm gonna keep saying. This guy said, bro, can you convince us why you want Ten Hag to stay? And I said, the club has no viable replacement. Please tell me who you would replace Ten Hag with right now if he was sacked today. Out of the available options. The players must go before the manager. Firing the manager before the removal of players lets the players off the hook again. The new hierarchy above him needs to be installed. They need to be allowed to get in, start working, making the changes, and the manager should be looked at after the hierarchy is in and the removal of certain players. Again, people keep mentioning the one who subbed McTominay. I don't understand how. Yes, it's a mistake. Yes, he deserves criticism for it. I don't understand how that's a sackable offense. It's just pent up frustration from the players playing like shit and not and losing and being embarrassed. That's not a fucking sackable offense. What is wrong? I expect better from this fan base. You should know better than to fucking act like this. This guy says Ten Hag rewards those players with new contracts and starts them every game. Stop acting as if he should be shouldn't be held accountable because you've got yourself emotionally attached to him. I'm not emotionally attached to him. I've said numerous times. If we can strip it all down and start over, I would, and that would include him, but it would have to have a proper plan in place, starting from the hierarchy, and that's just it's most likely not going to happen, and if it happens, it's going to take years, and it's going to be a process. I'm not, this guy's a weirdo. You come at the manager, but you refuse to go at the players, and it's also an incorrect statement because Eric Ten Hag recommends contract renewals, but certain players, and I'm going to use them again as an example, but I'll use 2 players just to be more fair, but Marcus Rashford was going to get a contract whether Ten Hag said to the club, give him a contract or not. If Eric Ten Hag went to them and said, you know what, I don't want this guy Marcus Rashford at the club, well, the club would be like, well, we're not letting him go for fucking free. 2, he's seen as the superstar of this club. He's English, and he probably sells a good amount of kits for us. So there's no way that even if Eric Ten Hag was like, you know what, Marcus Rashford isn't good enough, I don't want him and I don't like him and he should go, he was getting a new contract regardless. They would do the same to Bruno Fernandes and a couple other players there. So, we've seen it before. He wanted to sell Scott McTominay, and they said, no, he's worth more than $30 million, and here he is, fucking stuck here playing for us. People mentioning he's giving them new contracts and praising them. He's praising them in the media because, like I said, he's not going to throw them under the bus. It's just going to let the media write more articles. It's just going to let the media run with stories and run wild. It's just going to have the players turn against him. He's trying to keep the players on his side as much as possible. So you have to be a little bit smart and use your head, and not take everything word for word, you know, like a lot of people do, unfortunately. This guy is somebody I was mentioned about. His 80 million right winger was the worst player on the pitch. Okay, it's his right winger. He didn't tell nobody to pay 80 fucking million. They could have got him for 50. Club incompetence. The club knew very well they valued him at 25 million. They were willing to pay 50, which is double. And they because they're incompetent, they fucked up and they ended up paying 80 million. So, I don't see how that's on Eric Ten Hag. No manager is going to get a high success rate of signings. Look at any manager. Klopp has signed players that haven't worked. Guardiola has signed players that haven't worked. Even Arteta has players that aren't fucking working and need to go. All managers have this. This is a thing, but it's being personified even more because the results are bad. But the results are bad because the players are shit, and the players can't be here, and they're not good enough, and they don't fit the system, and they don't play. They're not good enough for the system to play football the way we want to play. They cannot play the way we want to see them play. They cannot do it. They're not good enough. They can try. And maybe some of them can half kind of do it, but they can't do it every single match for 90 minutes against any fucking team. And that's a problem. And that's the major problem that we have. I just wanted to check a little bit more, some stuff to see if we got anything else out. Any news or anything like that? I don't think so. So I would certainly say, that we have bigger problems than the manager. I understand why people are saying Ten Hag out. At the same time, I don't understand it to the point that we have bigger problems at the club. You know that there are different priorities in terms of problems that need to be addressed before Eric Ten Hag. And I don't understand why you think sacking the manager today will change the fortunes for tomorrow. We've seen it before. We sacked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, and they liked him. They liked Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. They thought he was a nice guy. They respected him. They felt bad because he was a nice guy. They just knew that the tactics and his coaching wasn't good enough. They stopped playing for him. We get in a guy that knows how to build squads, comes and tries to bring a little bit of authority. They throw a fucking temper tantrum. They refuse to play. They down tools even further than you would think that they could even do. They down tools even further than I thought was possible. Destroyed the season. They didn't give a fuck if they lost or not. So I don't understand how you think that, we sack Eric Ten Hag. Whoever we're getting in, they ain't gonna be the manager in the summer. Because whoever the manager isn't available. Unless they go for Graham Potter. And I don't think fucking Graham Potter is the answer. I don't think Graham Potter is better than Ten Hag. I don't think Graham Potter has the minerals for this fucking toxic group of players. So I think it's totally nonsense to say we need to remove the manager and that's going to solve our problems. It's absolutely not. I don't even want to do player ratings because all the players were fucking shit. Nobody played. I think, I'll tell you what, Alejandro Garnacho, he's getting the highest rating, and that's a 5, which is below average, and everybody else was fucking poor. I would actually give Diallo a 5 too. Maybe even a 6, because I thought Diallo played pretty well. Otherwise, everybody else played like shit. Marcus Rashford scored a goal, but his fucking performance wasn't good. He was wide open. He better have scored that fucking goal. And I know he didn't get many chances, but, whatever, that striker position is dead weight. For anybody that plays there, it's a fucking graveyard shift. I get it, but also he was awful. He was awful, and so was everybody else. I mean, Bruno was fucking non-existent today. I didn't even know he was playing, and he's supposed to be the captain. He's wearing the armband. So it's just it's. Listen, if the players can give you a half, like they did against Austin Villa in the second half, and they can play like how they did in the first half against Villa, and they can play how they did for fucking 60 minutes against Nottingham Forest, right? It's on the players. It's on the players. And any amount of coaching and any amount of training or whatever the fuck you want to give them, it's not going to change these players. This is a group that is dysfunctional. I said it numerous times when I was watching the game. There is a lack of communication. There is a lack of understanding between the players themselves. How do you solve that? These players don't gel together. Their personalities don't gel together. Their mentality don't gel together. They don't go together. It will never fucking work. That's why they have to be removed. They have to be removed. There's players that have been here, they have to fucking go, and we have to start again properly from the bottom. And I think, to be fair, Erik ten Hag had one good season last season, and now he has one bad season. I feel like it's bullshit that he's gonna get the sack and he's gonna get all the blame when he's basically 50 for 50. Right? He had a good season last season. First season, in charge. It was a good season. He won a trophy and got us in third, Champions League and all that. Second season has gone backwards, mostly because the club is fucking incompetent. Mostly because the club didn't let him remove certain players that he wanted to remove so he could get funds to get players that we need. Mostly for the fact that he's making decisions on players to buy because the club is run incompetently. There's nobody above him that has a football mind or a football brain to make decisions and push him back on signings that he's recommending. The scouting network is a fucking disaster, which is why he's taken it into his own hands. All these things are the club's problem. I think Erik ten Hag doesn't actually even want to be in charge fully of recruiting players. But I think he's looking at the system around him and he goes, this is a fucking mess. This is a disgrace. How is this club operating like that? I can't fucking listen and trust to any of these people. They're fucking incompetent. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They shouldn't be at their job. I didn't have this at Ajax. This is fucking ridiculous. And he said, these people are going to get me sacked. I have to at least take it into my own hands and give myself the best possible chance to fucking do something. And football doesn't work like that. Football at the highest level does not work like that. Maybe back in the day it used to, but it don't work like that no more. You need a team. You need help. You need support. And Erik ten Hag has had none of that. And we're seeing the fucking the results of it this season. So for me, again, I'm going to keep saying it. Replace the hierarchy, which looks like is happening, but it's going to take time. It's going to take a few months. It's definitely going to take till the fucking end of the season. Replace the players. Let Ten Hag try and put whatever they're doing, right? Whatever Ineos' plan is, let him try and put it together, right? Unless their main guy for whatever they want to do going forward, unless their main guy is available and it's somebody that is credible, good, and you would argue can handle managing Manchester United. And would take a new project under his hands and it would look good going forward into the future. But otherwise, if that candidate isn't available, and I can't think of too many, I would probably take Julian Nagelsmann, but he's young, so it's kind of a risk. But I still liked his style of play and his management. And then other than that, unless you need somebody, probably Carlo Ancelotti. I don't know if he's gettable. There aren't too many other managers that I'd go for. So I think Erik ten Hag should stay. He should try and put the new structure together, partnership with Ineos. Start building the football the proper way because we know it hasn't been done at this club for over 10 years. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong, and then he definitely has to go. He definitely has to go. Uh, but again, obviously he's making mistakes. He deserves criticism for those mistakes. I don't think he deserves the sack. I don't think that the mistakes are sackable offenses. I think the players are letting him down. The players have let other managers down. The players have let this club down. The players have let us down. I think they are the bigger problem. I think they need to be addressed first, for sure. And the hierarchy was the second one, but that's all changing now. So again, yeah, it was just a shit performance. Appreciate you guys being here for my therapy and my rant. Thank you for tuning in. Please make sure to give us a like, share, and subscribe. Especially the like. Smash that like button right now. It takes 2 seconds of your time. It's greatly appreciated. It helps us out. It really does. And other than that, thank you for tuning in. We'll definitely be bringing you another one like we always do. Who knows when that's gonna be? Maybe tomorrow. What's today? Saturday, Sunday night. We'll be back on Monday for sure. Ooh, when's New Year's? Yeah, we'll be back on Monday. We're gonna recap the game a little bit more. Discuss whatever news comes out. So thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you. We love you. Have a good morning, evening, and night from wherever you're watching in the world. Thank you. We'll see you later, and we'll be bringing you another one very, very soon. Thank you.